Hello, I'm Jane Hutcheon. Welcome to the program. Does popping vitamin supplements make you healthier? It certainly adds a glow to the profits of naturopathic remedy makers like Blackmore's. The Australian brand was set up by Marcus-Blackmore in the mid-1930s, and more than 70 years on, his son Marcus continues to battle sceptics and critics in the medical fraternity. It's estimated that 2/3 of Australians use complementary medicine, an industry with sales of more than $1 billion, with a global market estimated at more than $80 billion. Marcus-Blackmore says allopathic or conventional medicine doesn't have all the answers. Marcus-Blackmore, welcome to 1+1.
Thank you, Jane.
Why did your father become a naturopath when he opened his business in 1935? I wonder what motivated him then.
Well, my father was an English immigrant. He came to this country in the 30s, and he had his own particular health problems, so he sought out natural methods of treatment for his own health problems. He got interested. He studied naturopathy here in Australia. He studied chiropractic in the US, and he started the business that exists today, based on his philosophy and foundation of naturopathic teachings.
And how about you? How did you become a convert to the business?
Well, I guess the thing about this business is it's not like selling car parts. It involves a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. And I guess I was bought into it. You know, you just brought up that way. I can remember going to school and when they first introduced pasteurised milk, my father was totally opposed to pasteurised milk. He believed that their evidence, their science wasn't good enough. And so I was the one kid at school who wasn't allowed to drink the pasteurised milk, which didn't make me feel that good. He opposed fluoridation of water supply in Queensland. I think it's one of the reasons today why fluoridation of the water, fluoride in the water, is less in Queensland than it is in other states. So I think you just get, it's a way of life. You get brought up with that, and I've enjoyed it. My father sacked me 3 times, but blood's thicker than water. And your father always, after a few months, he forgets a bit and always wants you to come back. So that happened to me.
How do you account for the incredible growth in sales of complementary medicine? And at what stage do you think it will challenge pharmaceuticals in over-the-counter sales?
Well, I think it's the medicine of the future. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It is the medicine of the world already. The number of people on the planet that have access to conventional drug therapy is far less than the people that have access to traditional medicines, for instance. So the growth of the business has really been a consumer-driven growth. I mean, yes, we see advertisements on television and whatever for our industry, but it is minimal, it's small, and it's really about people's own experience. And that might go back, in some cases, for centuries with herbal medicine and so on. So I don't think it's been, from my point of view, any dramatic growth in the last 20 or 30 years. It's become more obvious, but it's been a steady growth for a long time.
The media reports many studies over the year that say vitamin supplements do more harm than good. The complementary medicine industry usually replies with a counterclaim that there's an active campaign to discredit vitamins. I wonder, how do you explain the large number of studies that say people should be cautious in their consumption of supplements?
Well, I agree with some of those studies. I think we should all be cautious about taking pills. And I would prefer, from a naturopathic point of view, that people ate better food and got more fresh air and got more exercise. However, we don't. We don't do all those things. We can't always achieve those things, and that's why there's an argument for taking supplements. Of course, we've got our critics, and a lot of medical research does suggest that some of these things don't work. But that's no different to allopathic medicine either. In medical research, not every study and trial is going to come out positive. But there is an overriding number of trials that come out positive to what come out negative. And I'm not sure the number, but it's something of the order of 80% positive and 20% negative. But of course the media only pick up on the negative ones. Very rarely do they pick up on the positive outcomes.
So do you knowingly sell some products that might not work?
No, not at all. But they will not every product works for every person. And I think that's, in a sense, the failure of orthodox medicine at times, not to treat holistically. When you talk about alternate health practitioners, they treat the body holistically. It is not a single drug approach that complementary medicine or alternate health practitioners accept. And therefore, our critics say that all these things should be simply a double-blind crossover trial. That's the gold standard for drugs. There is a lot of science behind complementary medicine. When I went to school, science was about observation and deduction. And if you think about the amount of observation and deduction there is in herbal medicine, it can go back thousands of years. And it's a lot of empirical evidence.
So is it a battle, if you like, in the marketplace between complementary medicine products and pharmaceutical products? And are you saying that the pharma wins because they've got more money?
I remember Senator Tambling, who was our Parliamentary Secretary for Health, and government has a significant influence in our business, so I got to meet the Senator and I talked to him about the model for the pharma industry and why the government should give us a fair go, because we actually pay goods and services tax. We pay GST of 10% on all, or our consumers do. So I was looking for a fairer go from government, and Senator Tambling simply said to me, "Don't take the pharma industry on in Canberra, Marcus, they're just too powerful."
If complementary medicine is so beneficial, why has the Australian government and other governments been slow, if you like, to make alternative medicine mainstream?
Well, I don't think it's the government's responsibility to make it mainstream. The government's responsibility is to protect consumers. But they get into a space that they don't know very much about. And I think there's a lack of knowledge, of the philosophical knowledge of complementary medicine within the regulator at times. It varies, and I would say that our regulatory system in Australia is actually a fairly good system.
Last year, Blackmores was criticised for some aggressive marketing, if you like, when the company was promoting the use of a computer program, I believe, with the pharmacy industry, which would prompt chemists to offer patients a special supplement range, I believe it was. Yeah. And that had to be withdrawn after something of an outcry. When you look back at that event now, and I know it wasn't that many months ago, can you see how people would be suspicious of their local chemist trying to foist something else on them?
It was a really interesting episode in this company's life, I can tell you, because I thought it was one of the smartest things my people had ever come up with. It was designed, we call it the Companions range. It was designed nothing more than to provide supplements for those drugs that deplete nutrients in the body when you take the drug. Classic example is statins. If you take statins, then you deplete coenzyme Q10, so we had a product with coenzyme Q10 and vitamin D in it. We didn't have anything to do with any computer systems. That was a media beat-up. We withdrew the product. We were not told to withdraw it. We went to the TGA ourselves. The TGA didn't come to us and said, "We've jointly got a problem. What are we going to do about it?" We did it in conjunction with the Guild. The Guild said the evidence. Our critics said, they don't have any evidence. The Guild said they'd never seen better evidence for complementary medicines.
But wouldn't you be suspicious if you went to get a packet of pills for something and the pharmacist then tried to sell you something in addition to that?
There's no compulsion whatsoever on the pharmacist to sell anything. It was simply a case, he might have a brochure on coenzyme Q10, for example. He might, which is what happens in pharmacy today.
But you obviously wanted the pharmacist to sell something because that was your product.
Yeah, the pharmacist, our biggest business is pharmacy. That's where most of our products are sold. We actually saw this, you had to get the pharmacist's advice to sell the product. The product did not go on the shelf. In fact, we didn't even make the product, never even got onto the market. But the product was expected to be in the back of the pharmacy, so you'd only get that product with advice from the pharmacist.
But I think that's the issue that some people take issue with, in that it's in a sense foisting something on a group of people or a person who might be vulnerable. And I know this has also been used in terms of cancer patients when certain supplements are marketed to cancer patients. Obviously, cancer patients would grasp at anything to get a cure or to be better.
There is no way in creation a company like mine or any company producing products in this industry can make a claim for cancer. It is just illegal. And there is significant regulatory impost to stop that happening. So it's not happening at that level. It's coming again from a consumer-driven thing of people trying things and not necessarily to treat the cancer. They may well be treating the side effects of the drugs they're taking. I don't think for 1 minute that our industry is in any way guilty of foisting products on people with cancer at all.
And what about some of the relationships that Blackmores have, for example, with the McGrath Foundation? Again, is this a way of using celebrity to foist a product or sell a product to a vulnerable group of people?
I don't think Glenn McGrath, if he was sitting in this seat, would agree with that. We've had a long-standing relationship with Glenn McGrath. He is a supporter of our sort of products. We don't use anybody in any ads that don't use the products. And he runs a wonderful foundation. I think the corporate world has a responsibility to support people like Glenn McGrath. And I don't think there's any inference that Glenn McGrath is going to go out there and start shouting about our products or anything like that. It's not the case.
Are you personally convinced that the formulation for multivitamins, because there's been a lot of discussion about multivitamins causing ill effects to health? I think there was a big study done in the US. Are you confident that your product can't harm anyone?
Absolutely. No question about that. I can tell you my father, being the naturopath that he was, he said, multivitamins are fertiliser, son, and you shouldn't be selling fertiliser. You should go and see a naturopath and really understand what you need. And then some years later I said, well, Dad, people don't eat well. I think there is an argument for nutritional insurance. And so that was my justification when I started running a business for selling multivitamins. I don't have any doubt that there is no suggestion whatsoever that any multivitamin that we sell or any other multivitamin on the market in Australia, we're very well regulated, could cause any harm whatsoever.
In terms of your own life, have you used both conventional and complementary medicine together?
Yes, I have. My doctor is an integrative medicine practitioner. He's a German-trained naturopath and an Australian-trained GP. And so, I go to him. I rarely go to doctors. I like to think that I know enough about it to support my own health, but as you get older, I'm not sure that's 100% right. So I certainly have a cardiologist. I'm not opposed to allopathic medicine. I think there's some wonderful advances we've made in allopathic medicine, particularly in surgery. It never ceases to amaze me. I'm not opposed to orthodox. I say consistently, look, if I walk out of here and get run over by a bus, don't take me to my chiropractor, take me down to Manly Hospital and give me some good life-saving drugs.
Marcus-Blackmore, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for speaking with 1+1.
Thank you.